Hey guys, it's Shaelin. I'm here today with another writing video. So today I'm just filming a very brief intro clip to the rest of this video. So today's video, as you can tell by the title, is me reacting to the flash fiction I wrote as a teenager. Back in the spring of 2023, more than 2 years ago at this point, I filmed a series of 3 videos of me reacting to my old work. There was one of me reacting to the book I wrote when I was 13, my first novel, me reacting to the book I wrote when I was 14, my second novel, and a third video of me reacting to the flash fiction that I wrote as a teenager. So I filmed these videos in a very short time frame, but I wanted to space out when I posted them because they were all like kind of the same content. Because I was spacing them out so much, I kind of completely forgot about the third one. I was organizing all of my camera SD cards. I found this old footage from April or March of 2023 that I literally had completely forgotten about and never edited. So I figured, why not just edit it and still post it, even if it's been 2 years? I actually haven't started editing the footage yet as I'm filming this, so I don't really know what's in there. Let's roll back the clock to a simpler time 2 years ago. Today we're going to be reacting to some flash fiction that I wrote when I was between the ages of 13 and 14. I don't know the exact age I was when I wrote these, but I do know that it was grade 8 and 9 that I wrote a lot of flash fiction. I think I'm gonna just pick 3 or 4 to read, and then there's so many more. Oh, The Cove. I vaguely remember this one. Most of my flash fiction would just be a character who lives in a weird place, and it would just be like a description of something kind of ominous and would try to sound like a plot twist, but like it wasn't really a plot twist. And you'll see what I mean from this one. So this is called The Cove. Okay. Here in the cove, it is always night. The sand is black, the sky is dark, and the water is a nightmare. Here in the cove, you can never leave. Most of my stories from this time focused around a character kind of trapped in a weird place. So here we have trapped in a cove, but there were so many variations of either weird post-apocalyptic scenario or character trapped somewhere. I live in the cove. I am the only one, at least the only human. There is the raven. Ooh, very Edgar Allan Poe of me. The raven sits on a rocky shelf, never moving, never speaking. How does it never move? Also, of course it doesn't speak. It's not a parrot. I always feel as if he is watching me. I know someone was here before me because they have left their message and their bones in the sand. They have told me that there are ghosts. I do not believe in ghosts. If I did, I would not be able to live here. It's trying so hard to sound intense, but there's no substance whatsoever. I've never swam in the darkness of the sea. Perhaps if I had, I would be somewhere warm and sunny right now. Maybe I would be dead. Perhaps I would be wishing I was. I've always wondered what sun looks like. So there's no sunlight? Cove is outdoors. How does the sun not... Okay, whatever. Many days I stare at the water because it makes me wonder. It used to make me hope, but the illusion of escape has disappeared. Suddenly, a shiver creeps up my spine. Oh yeah, this is typical of my old flash fiction. It would just be like a very long, weird monologue of a character in a weird situation, kind of being like, ooh, my life is so hard, I'm trapped here, but we don't know why. Everything is vague, but I'm trapped in this weird situation. And then all of a sudden we would shift into fictive present, and suddenly something would be happening. Suddenly a shiver creeps its way up my spine. I think someone is watching me. It's only the raven. I stare into his deep, hypnotic eyes, searching for something, anything, although I don't know what. I realize that the attempt is futile. So once again, I turn my gaze away. Then the raven, which is now capitalized all of a sudden, lets out a cry, a screech so terrible that I cannot even bring myself to think about its cause. Perhaps it is a warning for me. Perhaps it is warning me to escape or end up like the dead man on the beach. But death is not the thing that frightens me most. The thing of which I am most scared is the fact that the raven is no longer there on his perch, no longer watching me. Now, I am truly alone. Throughout the whole piece, the narrator is like, the raven is terrifying me, creepy, bad, don't like the raven. All of a sudden the raven leaves and the main character is like, damn, now I'm alone. What was that about? We're told there are really high stakes because the main character is constantly like, I should be dead, I could die, blah, 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 but we don't really have any reason to feel the stakes or believe in the stakes. I have like 20 of these. Exactly like this. Let's read another one. So this one is basically the same story. Okay, it's called The Figure. We're kind of in my post-apocalyptic era now, where I wrote a lot of like post-apocalyptic short stories that just, again, were not about anything. Okay, the figure. The waves rolled up against the water cautiously, thinking, waiting, eventually taking the plunge to shore, receding back to the sea only moments after their arrival, tapping at the feet of the figure on the beach, taunting it. That's an image. You know, that is an image, I'm gonna say. I really was wielding imagery with prowess, misguided prowess, I could say. Personification of the wave just makes it very melodramatic, but okay. The shore was dotted with treasures, from a broken down motorcycle to an old candy wrapper, but none of these were interesting to the figure, so the figure kept walking. The figure walked past an old amusement park, past a closed down corner store, past the old school that no child had walked in for years. The figure walked past all these things, but none of them were interesting, so the figure moved on. There were so many sounds rising from the torrent of nothing. Damn, so many sounds rising from the torrent of nothing. You can feel my little brain trying. You can feel the effort. Wind howling, rain slapping at torn concrete, waves rolling and receding from the sea, and the muffled footsteps of the figure on the beach. But the figure didn't find any of this interesting, so the figure went past them all. I will say there's a little bit of showing, not telling here. We're kind of being shown that the figure is jaded, and like this is the figure's normal reality, and so clearly the world has been this way for a while. My skill, frankly, knows no bounds. The figure walked along the storm-swept beach through the rain for minutes, for hours, for days, for mere seconds and moments, through fractures of time. The figure was on the beach and then was walking along other stuff that wouldn't be along a beach. You wouldn't have an amusement park, a corner store, and a school along the beach. Well, I mean, maybe you could. Kind of a weird neighborhood, but okay. So we go for minutes, and then hours, and then days, and then back to seconds again. And then fractures of time. Fractures of time. Beautiful, honestly. But none of this had any meaning to the figure. So the figure didn't even care. The figure only cared about walking. There was nothing else for the last soul on Earth to do. Is it a plot twist? Is it the reveal? I don't even want to give it that credit. What is the point of this? There isn't a point, but I clearly thought I was being very clever with myself. You can feel it's emanating from the page how clever I thought I was being. Here we have a story called Ink and Diamonds. I think I was a little older when I wrote this. I may have been more like 15 or 16. I remember really thinking that this was the most beautiful language that had ever been penned. And so let's see if it lives up to that. We used to go down to the lake of inky water with a surface that shimmered at dawn and glittered at dusk, like a pit of tar covered in crushed diamonds. That's actually kind of good. We tread with careful paces, the bare soles of our feet snapping twigs. Standing in the deep and dark that surrounds me, but does not swallow me, that's when I can finally breathe. Very awkwardly written. Breath like a cedar tree, deep and airy, from paper bag lungs in a rib cage of ivy. If roots could grow from my skin and burrow into the loose sand of this lake, I would never leave, and I would never be alone. Is it a little purple? Yes. Is it a little over the top? Yes. But is the imagery kind of cool? Like cedar tree breath? I think that was originally from a poem, and then I clearly thought it was so brilliant that I had to put it in a fiction piece. Next paragraph. We used to sing with the birds. Voices like clocks and golden cellos. That's kind of a pretty image, but it's also weird to go from like very naturalistic imagery to now clocks and golden cellos. It's a bit out of the lexicon of the story. We were like a symphony, off-key and blind to those who sit and stare at the sea like it's something marvelous instead of something cold and hungry for courage. I tried too hard with that one. It's so convoluted that I don't even know what I'm trying to say. This character is very in tune with nature. Classic for me to write at 14 because I was a little naturalistic child who loved the forest. Still do. This is completely incongruous because we've been told that this is a character who really respects nature and wants to be one with nature, but also the sea, evil, bad, hungry for courage or something. Does this character only like lakes? They're like, the ocean, bad. Lakes, though, okay. They ignored us, and it was beautiful to be ignored. It's weird that the antagonistic force in this story is people who like the ocean. With words in ancient languages that only children know, with syllables that sound like the creation and destruction of words with a single sound. What is this referring to? Again, very melodramatic, but what is this referring to? We're talking about other people, and then suddenly, with words what? With what words are you doing? And the drumbeat of thunder was the perfect metronome to keep us in time. These sentences are just all non sequiturs. I was really flexing with every single sentence, but none of them string together to make any kind of coherent point. Almost there. 2/3 of the way there. You can do this. We used to live like the future was far away. I mean, yeah, that's how children are. They don't really have a concept of the future. It's called being a child. Dances of ash and rain. Ash? It could all fall frozen in the cold, and we would still walk barefoot. Our lips would turn cerulean blue, and we would drink the lake water like hot chocolate. I'm just starting to become very confused by the situation. All my old short stories are just monologues, but the situation itself is so unclear. When the sky turned sour and gray, we played in a graveyard like it was a picture book. When the sky bid us goodbye without sending a postcard, taking the warmth with it, we walked into the deep and did not leave. A home is a home even in winter. Bars, actually. Is this supposed to imply the world ending, is my question. Final sentence. We used to go down to the lake, but not anymore. I can't tell if this is a story about growing up and like losing the magic for places that used to feel magical as children, or if it's literally about the world ending. The obvious reading would be the first, and that it's just very melodramatic. But knowing myself as a teenager, I may have been going for a literal apocalypse moment. Some of the prose is actually kind of interesting in this one. The idea of the image is cool, but the way that I phrased it is way too much. And then it's also paired alongside imagery that is nonsensical. None of the emotional stuff going on really has any logic to it. The situation, you have no idea what's going on. We have some kids who like to go down to the lake. They love the lake. It's like very important to them. Other people, I assume adults, don't understand, even though they love the sea, but the children know that the ocean is actually bad and hungry for courage. I don't know what any of that means or what actually happened in this story. This is maybe one of the oldest ones. This is from when I was in grade 6. So I wrote this when I was 11. It's called Ghostly Nights. When I was in grade 6, my teacher recommended me for like a writing special program. I don't know how often it was, but I think we met like 4 or 5 times. And they never like taught us anything about writing. I think they just gave us prompts, and I loved it so much. There was like a local school district-wide anthology that they told us we could submit to, and I submitted this piece and it was selected for the anthology. Yeah, there was like a launch and everything. It felt so fancy. And there was like, you know, refreshments. We got like lemonade and cookies or whatever. It was like the first time that I'd actually felt like celebrated for something that I'd been really into my whole life. The teacher asked me to like share something that I'd written in the class. And I remember reading this, and I remember like the class like really liked it. So let's read it. Even though it's not going to be good, I'm actually like kind of excited to read this one because I was so young when I wrote this that it's just cute. Living in a haunted house isn't easy. Living in a house full of demons, ghosts, and ghouls makes your skin go pale and your hair go thin. What's it like living in a haunted house? Why not ask Caroline Ript? Her name is Crypt. She's lived in one for her whole life. So then it cuts to first person. Does the point of view make sense? No, but I didn't know how point of view worked. The house is extremely big and old. I never go outside. The sky is dark in the daytime. I really love the sky that is always dark and a person who can never leave. In the nighttime, it's even darker. Some days I go down to the doorway and look outside. The wind stings my eyes. Bare gnarled trees project eerie shadows onto the grim exterior that I live in. I shiver from the cold. I look around. There is a dark forest surrounding me. Red eyes gleam from the depths of the tangled web of branches and vines that is called forest. Kind of interesting phrasing. If I had just said red eyes gleam from the depths of the tangled web of branches and vines, ended it there, much stronger sentence. A black cat crosses the path and I slam the door. Would life be easier if I stepped outside, ran across the path through the woods, over the bridge, over 18 rolling hills, very specific that she knows that, and into a world where the sun actually shines 12 hours a day? It could be easy, it could be impossible, it could lead to certain death. We're seeing a lot of parallels between this and the Cove. This clearly was the beginning of a certain template. I climb back up the creaking stairs that lead to a grand entrance that could have been beautiful a very long time ago, but now just speaks of sadness. What time is it? I do not know. It could be noon, it could be midnight. The moon never leaves the sky. The room is filled with ghosts. They look like masses of dark smoke with luminous yellow eyes. That's actually a cool image of a ghost. Caroline, Caroline, they whisper. I hold my candle in front of them, which seems to drive them off. Lightning strikes, thunder booms, and echoes through the night, and rings inside my head long after. The candle goes out, leaving me in complete darkness. The organ starts playing. I have never touched a key of it, but every day or night, it plays horrible, terrifying, ghostly music. I don't know how I got here or why. Yeah, none of my characters in any of these know how or why they're anywhere. There are a lot of things I don't know, but in a vast sea of mystery is the one thing of which I am absolutely certain. In my life, the organ has never played the same song twice. Bars, actually. Why is this actually good? I do ask why the person at the beginning hasn't rescued her. That's all for this video. I've had so much fun filming these videos. I haven't looked at this work in so long. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video.